Good morning and welcome in Santa Clarita. Happy Friday. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and you remember our show. You know our show. We are here every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. with our show Eye on the Valley, which is brought to you by SCVi and iLead Schools, a network of free public charter schools with campuses here in Castaic, that's on the west side of the valley, Agua Dulce on the east side of the valley, Lancaster up in the Antelope Valley. We've got a fully accredited online school that you're going to hear a lot about this morning. We've got a burgeoning homeschool program, post-COVID. Both of our virtual schools, iLead Online and iLead Exploration, have really been growing fast. They're doing amazing things with kids in a unique and exciting way. You know what? Just go ahead and visit us at iLeadschools.org for more information on any of our 6 schools and 8 different programs. We've got an educational model, no matter what your child's needs are. So again, check us out at iLeadschools.org. You can click on the link to any one of our schools and programs while you're there and see what we have to offer while you're listening to this show, of course. So yeah, we keep our eye on education here in Santa Clarita and across the nation, and boy, these last 6 months, I've really been keeping my eye on education here throughout the state. There's been some legislation that we've been working on defeating, and one bill that we were working on getting passed. And a huge shout out to Senator Valadares, who was extremely supportive in helping us protect your right to an amazing public education through charter schools for your child. But yeah, like our show says, we also we keep our eye on the valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the valley. And you know, we like to take a little time to goof and giggle and play around a little bit, but we'll leave that toward the end of the show. And I want to thank you for Delgado handing off after his show. Good morning, Santa Clarita. You know, he wrapped up with some news, traffic, and weather, and he hit he hit the most important points. But a couple of updates on well, first of all, the traffic, not very local, but if you're heading out of town today and you're going through the Mojave area, yeah, watch out for mudslides. That can be a little bit dangerous. It's you know, not that I know anything about that, but lots of mud on the highway. Be prepared to stop. Be prepared to slow down. Keep your hands at 10 and 2 if you're heading out on the 14 through the high desert. And, you know, Delgado was talking a lot about, you know, the biggest news in sports here in L.A. this morning. Clayton Kershaw has announced his retirement. We all knew it was coming. His final home appearance, regular season home appearance, will be this evening, and everybody will be tuned in. Well, everybody that has Apple TV, that is, because the game is not on the regular sports net tonight. So get to where you can watch it on Apple TV or shell out a couple $1,000s and get down to the stadium. But that's not the only local baseball story. As a matter of fact, there's another local baseball player. We're talking about Hunter Green, born and raised here in Santa Clarita, grew up in Stevenson Ranch. Yes, he's an SCVi alum who is now the ace for the Cincinnati Reds. Yesterday had his best game of the season. I got to say, probably one of the best games of his career. Pitched a complete game. Nobody does that anymore. Pitched a full 9 innings, 1 hit, shutout, and took the victory 1-0. Way to go, Hunt. Threw less than 100 pitches in 9 innings. Just an absolutely phenomenal game. Just tearing hitters apart. Hunter Green is phenomenal. If you haven't gotten on the Hunter Green bandwagon, do know that he's a local kid. He's a great young man, just an absolutely phenomenal young man, and he's just tearing up that National League East division. So yeah, he's doing great things. Way to go, Hunt. Good job, and Kirsch, we will miss you, but we're hoping you'll take one more ring with you as you go. So let's get into the show, shall we? That's enough of news, sports, and weather. Today we've got a great show ahead of us. We've got one of my all-time favorite guests joining us in just a moment, Kate Wolfe. She is the director of iLead Online, that school I was just telling you about. They are absolutely blowing up because they're doing amazing things, and families are finally catching on to the fact that you can get an incredibly high-quality, rigorous, personalized education through an online platform, and they just continue to grow their enrollment. They've added some exciting new education opportunities for your kids this year, and don't forget, like all charter schools, it is absolutely free. That's right. All 6 of our schools offer that amazing private school experience for the FREE public school price, completely free. And then in hour number 2, we will be speaking with a couple of members of the leadership team from Zonta International of Santa Clarita Valley. We're talking about Dr. Cherise Moore and Dinh Montané. And so, yeah, those ladies will be in here talking about an amazing event that Zonta's got coming up to help combat violence against women. And then, because mom says I gotta, we're going to be plugging my big brother in at the end of the show for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Let's see if we can dial it back maybe to 4 today. That'd be nice. But, Big T comes in for the last couple minutes of the show with trivia, some fun facts, all kinds of annoying tidbits. Jen, I've noticed recently he's backed off of his life tips, and I don't know. I think he might have gotten threatened, or maybe he got a memo from HR.
Yeah, poor results. Yes. So you just got to stop at some point.
There we go. Poor results from his life advice. I don't know if he got threatened with a lawsuit or a suspension, but whatever it is, whatever he has for us this morning, it's going to be painful for us, but entertaining for you. It's kind of like a kick to the groin. So stick around for that.
That's what I think of when I think of Big T.
Right? Wow. What a way to set up the show. I'm sure my first guest is just going to be thrilled to follow that. Kate Wolfe has been in education for about a quarter of a century now. She has taught literally every single grade level. I was looking at which grade levels I taught the other day, and I've missed about 5 or 6 of them. But Kate has taught every single grade level from transitional kindergarten, the witty bitty babies, all the way through not just high school, but community college as well. She's got experience in traditional brick and mortar education. That's your drop them off campus, as well as with online and independent study. Kate grew up right here. She's a SoCal girl. She attended UCLA, go Bruins, before beginning her education career. She's an incredibly innovative yet kind and patient educational leader who fosters a collaborative leadership environment at her school, making her one of the best bosses you could ever hope to work for, and lots of people tell me so. Kate runs the most innovative free online public charter school in the country, but she's never complacent or satisfied as she and her team continue to improve the innovative things that they're doing at their school to make sure that their students get the best quality education possible from transitional kindergarten through 12th grade. Kate Wolfe, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you so much for having me. I was going to say that was going to be a hard statement to follow until you did my intro.
We try to buffer it a little bit, yeah. Sorry about that, Kate. I know it's a little early in the morning for the that kind of humor.
I'm with you. I can hang. You're good.
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, you know how big brothers can get. But anyways, Kate, let's talk about this amazing school that you run. Kate, online learning, especially in the elementary, middle, and high school grades, has really grown over the last decade or so. And I'm not talking about just post-pandemic, but even prior to the pandemic, online learning for elementary, middle, and high school had really been growing. But, the pandemic just kind of accelerated your growth. So you're certainly not the only online school out there. Can you tell our listeners what makes iLead Online's approach unique, though, compared to other online learning platforms?
Sure. So I would say it's the personalized attention and the hands-on options. We were around before the pandemic, right. So we already had a mission and a vision and all of that dialed in before COVID happened. And then when it happened, we were able to share everything we were doing with a wider audience. And I think that that's where we started to really, really grow because people realized that we were different from what they may have expected from an online school. Kids get wraparound support. They get the room to learn in a way that fits them, that meets their needs. They get flexibility in how they learn. We partner directly with parents and to make sure that we really know their kids and we put our relationships with them first and then build their learning plan from there. And then on top of that, they're not just on the computer all day long. They have so many options for hands-on learning and also to take what we give them and just go in whatever direction they want from there. We have some really cool things that kids are doing where they just took our facilitators' inspiration and ran with it, and we celebrate that, I think, in ways that most online schools don't.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kate. And you know, it's interesting because a lot of folks, when I talk to them about iLead Online, they equate it to that distance learning thing that we did back during the pandemic. In fact, I had a friend about a year and a half ago whose kid was having some issues at school and he needed a different model. And I suggested iLead Online. And right away, she shut me down. She says, no. Distance learning just about killed my kids. There's no way. And I said, no, this is not distance learning. Check it out. Try it out. She did and absolutely fell in love with it. And her son said it was a phenomenal option for him as well. Because you're right. It is quite unique. And you mentioned that your kids, you try to get them offline as quickly as possible so that the learning can really get started. Can you tell us what that looks like? What does maybe a day in the life of or a week in the life of, either way, of an online learner look like? What's that look like, Kate?
Sure. So I think it depends on the kid, and that's one of the beautiful things about what we do. You know, for our littles, we have something called Campfire at the beginning of the day where they get to connect with their facilitator, their teacher, and their classmates, and they share stories. I just subbed in for 5th grade Campfire this last week, and we did show and tell. I showed my son's giant bearded dragon, and we talked about adaptations, and it was super fun. And then we read a story together. And then they go and they use everything in their learning platform alongside a parent, and also sometimes educator support. Sometimes they're logging in to do tutoring or small group support to do their projects for the day or the week. And they can work as much as they want within a day. And sometimes, you know, for our older kids, we have a lot of athletes and actors. They're doing things at different times of the day that require them to work in the evening or in the afternoon. And we work with them as well. You know, I truly believe in this model. My own kids do independent study like this. They are all competitive athletes and they practice at 7 a.m. So they're practicing first thing in the morning and doing all of their learning in the late morning and afternoon. And so I think the bottom line of like what a day looks like is it's driven by the kid, right? And making sure, obviously, that they're getting the learning that they need and that they have access to all of those fun projects. But beyond that we're working with them, we're listening to them, we're hearing how they learn, we're hearing what their own schedules look like so that we can support their success.
So that's a really interesting point. It really depends on the kid and what the kid's needs are. That's what personalized learning is all about. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Kate, you mentioned you've got quite a few of your students that are kind of the elite level athletes that are training. And I think a misnomer about online schools, especially in 2025, is that it is for that one particular small niche type of student, right? The actors and the athletes that work during the day and need to do their studies on a flex basis or in the evening. But what types of students are you seeing enrolling and succeeding at iLead Online? Is it just that small niche?
So that's a great question, and it comes up a lot. And I often tell people, like, we look like our crowd of kids looks a lot like any school. So we serve all different kinds of kids with all different learning needs. Yes, absolutely, the athletes and the actors, but also kids that want a quality education with that flexibility and that personalized learning, and they love our model and they succeed at it. So it could just be like those kiddos. We also see kids with learning differences or kids that with health differences, kids that didn't feel like brick and mortar or even just traditional schooling, forget just brick and mortar, but traditional one-size-fits-all schooling was the right path for them. And we celebrate every single one of them. We want to make room for them. We want to hear their voices. And in addition to like those athletes and those actors that need the flex schedule, we actually have live sessions running throughout the day, right? So we have virtual clubs, we have small group instruction, we have tutoring. So for those kids that are doing your typical 8:30 to 3 schedule, there's all that support built in during the regular school day as well.
Wow. And so you even serve, and I get this question a lot, you serve students with special education needs, maybe English learner needs, kids that are still learning the English language. Same thing as every other public school?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So, Kate, you've already answered my next question a little bit. You've talked a lot about, the campfire that the younger elementary school kids are attending with their classmates where they're interacting and they're sharing and writing stories together. You've talked about some of the clubs and things like that, because I think that's one of the myths about online or virtual learning is that it's isolating, that kids don't interact with each other and they don't get that social experience that's so important. But you do have those live virtual events where they get to interact, but you also have some in-person events that you offer your school, right? Can you talk about some of the ways that iLead online learners are getting to interact with each other in person?
Yeah, so every month, really, our teachers, our facilitators, even me, I plan them too. We plan in-person meetups, which are also learning opportunities for our kids. So we have everything from usually a welcome back beach bash
nice.
to park days coming up next week, actually. We have the Mariachi de Herencia, which is at the Soraya at CSUN. So we've been lucky enough to be able to attend all of the student matinees at the Performing Arts Center at the Soraya. And then in October, we have the Gibbon Conservation Center coming up. We have Romeo and Juliet all in Spanish for our kiddos who are taking Spanish, which I think is an amazing opportunity. And then we also have college tours that our counselors plan, and we're working actively to pair every single college tour we plan with a tour that explores a trade or a work opportunity directly out of high school.
Fantastic. Kate Wolfe is the director of iLead Online Charter School. Sounds like they are in full gear celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month with all kinds of virtual interaction clubs, things like that, as well as in-person interaction. This is not your father's online charter school. When we get back, Kate, I want to talk about two really important things, and that's A, how you personalize the educational experience to be unique to every single student, and also what you're doing to prepare kids for college and career, because parents are getting really savvy and they're starting to ask that question. What about college? Can you get my kid into college? What about career prep? How can you help me with that? Those are probably two of the most important things that families are looking for as they enroll their kids in school. So let's discuss that when we get back. I am Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley, and you are listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by the director of iLead Online Charter School, Kate Wolfe. iLead Online offers a free public education to students in grades TK through 12th grade in a remarkably personalized way that's just getting absolutely phenomenal results. Kate, we talked a little bit about it before the break, about how, the education, what it looks like and how it gets rolled out really depends on each individual student. So let's drill down on that a little bit, because you guys really focus on personalizing the learning experience for each individual student that you have. How do you guys do that at iLead Online? How do you personalize the learning experience for your learners?
So that's a great question. I think first comes the relationship with our kids. We want to get to know them. We want to hear how they learn. We want to hear what their passions are and what they enjoy. And then we can build out from there. But beyond that, all of our classes live inside of a learning management system where kids are able to access their learning options. And we really encourage our teachers to do a couple things, really, when they're building out or when they're presenting these classes to kids. One is to make sure that there are universal tools there for kids to access. So we want to make sure that there are things that help to scaffold their learning, graphic organizers, notes tools, lots of options that appeal to different learning styles. And then we build on that with offering different options for each assignment. So kids have different ways of learning. We have visual learners, kinesthetic learners, learners with a hand, and we want them to be able to see different options for them to show mastery. So for some kids, that might look like a worksheet or a digital creation. But for others, they really feel engaged by getting their hands in and moving away from the computer and building and creating. And so we want to make as much room as possible for kids to be able to do that. For example, in our world history class, one of our learners did this amazing, and it's in our Monday message this week, this amazing mini project where he created his own prehistoric tool digitally, and then he had a 3D printer at home. He 3D printed it, and then he used it out in his yard, and he tested how well it worked and compared it to modern tools and did a whole presentation on it. So while not every kid needs to have a 3D printer, right, for those kids that do and are really getting into it, like, what a great way to celebrate how they're learning.
That is absolutely amazing. And you're right, Kate. I'm on your website. And if folks want to go to your website and check that out, it's iLeadOnline.org. And if they hover over resources, that first link is Monday Messages. If they click on this week's Monday Message, they can see that story. And that is absolutely amazing. And there's also information about the Gibbon meetup at the Conservation Center and Romeo and Julieta. Romeo and Juliet in Spanish, all kinds of great stuff going on here at iLead Online. And you're right, Kate, relationships in schools are so important, especially in this day and age. And I think that's one of the things that really sets you apart from other online schools. But Kate, I mentioned how savvy parents are getting, especially as their kids are going into high school and they're starting to ask questions about, what about dual enrollment? I want my kids to take college courses while they're in high school, or I want them preparing for career while they're still in high school, and that's called CTE, or Career Technical Education Pathways, right? Can you tell us about those opportunities? Do you have those opportunities at iLead Online?
Yeah, so our goal for our high school kids is to open as many doors as possible, right? We want to listen to them, we want to support them, and we want to make sure that when they step away from us, they're ready to move into whatever direction they want in their lives. We want them to feel prepared. And if that's college, that's great. If that's a trade, that's fantastic too. But we want to be there for them for that. And some of the ways we do that, one is this year we've launched dual enrollment with Antelope Valley College, so community college. Okay. And our kids are able to take English 101, Spanish, some really great classes in history of rock and roll is on there. And then alongside that dual enrollment, we have offered a college success lab, especially for kids that aren't quite used to community college just yet.
Yeah.
It's a weekly opportunity to meet with our college and career counselor, check in with how they're doing in their college class, develop skills for success, study skills, organizational skills, time management skills, so we can walk alongside them in that process and get them ready for their next steps, whether that's community college after us, four-year university after us, or even the kinds of time management skills and study skills or success skills they might need to step right into the workforce, or to take any courses they might need to take to prepare themselves for a trade.
Yeah.
We also have lots of learners that take courses at other community colleges in the Southern California area to help get them ahead and ready for college or for post-high school career planning. Our CTE, or our career and technical education pathways, are growing every year. And what those are is they're an opportunity for kids to be introduced to a trade or a career that they might be interested in. So that could be anything from art, like photography or digital animation, to game design, which is huge. We're actually talking about building an app creation in our game design classes.
Oh, wow.
To sports medicine. That's another huge one. We have lots of learners who are entrepreneurs. So we have a full entrepreneurship pathway that helps them not only build businesses, and we have a lot of learners that already have businesses, but also just develop leadership skills, right? So sometimes kids come in and they're like, I don't know if I want to start a business. But then we talk to them a little bit and they're like, you know what, I want to go in and work as an electrician or a contractor. All of those leadership skills apply to whatever trade that they're going to end up in, whatever business organization they're going to end up in. And then new on the horizon for our CTE is our equine science pathway, which was actually inspired by one of our learners. And that's how I love to build our classes, is like we hear a need and then we respond to it. But one of our learners actually did a whole special project around equine science. And I am so happy to say that because of that, or as she was inspired by that and ended up being able to go to a special trade school in what we call farrier, right? So she's going to be looking at equine hoof health, and she's starting, I think, in the next couple weeks. And she was able to enroll after high school, and she's taking all of the classes and going to be set up for an internship in about 8 weeks. So she inspired our equine science pathway.
That is amazing. Where does that happen, that one student, because of the individual path that they're following, creates an entire pathway for students that come behind her? That is absolutely amazing. Kate, I wanted to follow up a little bit with your dual enrollment. You were talking about how you have a partnership with Antelope Valley Community College, that your kids can take community college classes there while they're still taking their high school coursework. You also have students enrolling throughout Southern California at different community colleges. Are they taking those classes online as well, or are they attending those classes in person?
So they have the option to do either one. At Antelope Valley Community College, those classes are all online, but with live support. If they're taking community college classes at other Southern California community colleges, they can choose to take them in person or completely online. So that really fits with our whole model of let's personalize it to what fits you best. And our team of college and career counselors works with every single learner to make sure that they're picking the college and the course that works best with their schedule and their learning style.
Wow, that is amazing. And it's a great opportunity to talk about this, because you're an online school. Families aren't dropping kids off in the morning and picking them up in the afternoon. And so where do your kids come from? You mentioned they're attending community college courses around Southern California. Where are your students coming from? Where do they live?
So we have a wide range, right? We go all the way down to Orange County. We have lots of kids in the Antelope Valley, and our facilitators mirror that. So when we're planning events and we're offering opportunities, we try to get those all over Southern California, whether it's in Los Angeles, in the San Fernando Valley, in the Antelope Valley, in Orange County. We're here for it.
Well, that is fantastic. So you take kids from all over Southern California, and you hire staff that's where your students are, so that they can, when the need requires, those social meetups or any time that they may need to interact with their teachers in person, they've got them right there. That is fantastic. Now, Kate, I know that all of our iLead schools are built on a foundation of project-based learning. You mentioned this amazing prehistoric tool project that one of your students developed earlier this year. But how does a project-based learning work in an online virtual platform?
I think that's a great question, too. So it really is driven by the learner with the support of their facilitators. So they have lots of room to get hands-on, to drive what sparks their interest, and to put together a project that matters to them. So I think the best way to capture it is to do an example. So I spoke a little bit about the equine science pathway. That pathway is project-based, and in that course, every single week or block, learners are exploring a different aspect of equine health and connecting it to a career related to it. And by the end of the class, they're building a portfolio where they've interviewed local professionals who work in different, aspects of equine health. And they're building little career flyers that show how much they make and where you go to school to get into that. So the kids are the ones getting to drive what they put together for their projects. And then the facilitators are there to listen and to give them the resources so that they can do it, right? So we have a kid who already rides horses, but wants a connection with an internship or with a career professional. That facilitator is there to say, here's some contacts for you. Let's get you connected and moving forward in your project.
That is fantastic. Now, Kate, I know your school, iLead Online, is TK through 12th grade. We've talked about a lot of the stuff that you're doing for your high schoolers and your middle schoolers. Let's talk a little bit about your littles, because your elementary school students get really excited when they get stuff in the mail from their school. I'm talking about the adventure boxes that come to the younger kids. Can you tell our listeners what those adventure boxes are and why and how you utilize them?
Yeah, of course. So for our littles, we really believe that hands-on and play are central to how they learn. And so we partner the projects that they get in their classes directly with hands-on manipulatives to help them learn. So they get what we call adventure boxes mailed directly to their homes with everything from dice to practice math to seeds so that they can grow plants and learn the plant life cycle. And it really helps to make it, I think, easier for parents to be able to just jump into the box and say, here you go, we have everything we need to learn, but also for kids to really get hands-on. And in addition to those adventure boxes, we also have electives for our elementary and all the way up to middle school learners called Play World, where they get to do sculpture. And we send home a box with clay supplies for a different project each week so that they can build out characters, really. So what's really cool about that class is every week they build a different character. It's paired with different learning opportunities. So we have an alligator week, and they learn about the difference between alligators and crocodiles. And by the end, they have the option to do a culminating project where they do a story. And some kids do stop motion. Some kids do videotape a play with their characters. So they build a story with all of the characters that they built over the course of their Play World class.
How fun is that? And I know your kids get real excited when their boxes show up in the mail. It is an exciting time. So Kate, again, you offer TK through 12th grade at iLead Online, completely free. Let's talk about two things. Families that had never heard of you before are hearing about iLead Online for the first time today. How can they enroll? Or what about families that are on the fence? This sounds really intriguing, really exciting, but they're a little nervous. This is a big change for our family. How can they get more information?
Yeah, so they can go to iLeadOnline.org. They're ready to enroll. There's a button right on that home screen that says Enroll Now, and they can click it, and we'll walk them through the process. For families that want to know a little bit more, we have virtual open houses, usually at minimum twice a month. And those are also on our website at iLeadOnline.org. You can click there and register to attend one of our virtual open houses. Or if you prefer to get a one-to-one phone call or more immediate information, you can go to iLeadOnline.org and hit the Contact Us button and fill out a contact form and request a phone call from our enrollment specialist.
Fantastic. So one more time, that website is iLeadOnline.org. You know what? Go ahead and pour yourself another cup of coffee. We've got over another hour left of the show, so you're going to stick with us. You're going to listen to us. Head on over to iLeadOnline.org and peruse their catalog. Sign up for an information session. But I always like to give my listeners this little hack. Fill out the application even before you go to the information session. You say, well, Matt, I'm not sure I want to fill out an application yet. There's no fee to fill out the application. And if you decide you don't want to go and they call you up, Suzanne's going to call you and say, hey, guess what? You're in. And you're going to say, you know what? I've changed my mind, Suzanne. No harm, no foul. So, but yeah, reserve your spot in line, fill out that application first, and then sign up for the information session. Peruse the catalog and everything else, all the different, you've got samples on here, Kate. You've got learners that are going to your school or have graduated from your school. You've got learner spotlights that are really fun to read. Kate Wolfe, iLead Online. Check them out at iLeadOnline.org to sign up for an information session and get started on that application, iLeadOnline.org. Kate, thank you so much for calling in this morning. I know how busy you are, but we appreciate your time. You have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And you stick around. We've got a lot more for you when we're coming up. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? We've got lots of fun and exciting things for you to do. And then, we've got some other great guests coming up. We've got the leadership from Zonta Clubs of Santa Clarita Valley coming up here in the second hour. So stick around. We've also got Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame coming up at the end of the show. You won't want to miss that. You are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am your host, Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. You know, we got quite a bit of rain yesterday and last night. The roads are still a little bit moist out there, but Delgado promised us that the sun was coming out this morning, and it's going to be an absolutely beautiful weekend. Going to be a cloudy Friday, but an absolutely beautiful weekend. Temperatures are going to be around the mid-80s. And it's going to be clear and sunny. What a perfect weekend. So what are you doing this weekend? Jen, let's start with you. You got plans this weekend?
I do. I'm actually planning on leaving the house. I'm going to head to Vegas after you and I wrap it up here this morning. And some little tiny backstory. My husband works for iHeartRadio. And so every year we being me, gets to go along and have fun while he's working. But really, and that's great. It's a fun event. But my main focus this weekend will be the Wizard of Oz, which is showing at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I don't know if you've seen the videos of that online.
I have not, no.
Oh my gosh, it looks incredible. So the Sphere is literally what it is. It's a building shaped like a gigantic sphere. Right. I don't know how many people are seated. I don't know what the capacity is. But it kind of, you're immersed, if you will,
sure,
in the middle of whatever the show is. So they've done previously, I think U2 kind of maybe started it off when they first opened. Yeah. And they haven't been open that long, less than a year.
Yeah.
It's right there on the Strip. I want to say it's down by the Venetian. And so it's really kind of immersive. I'm hearing that there's going to be quote unquote apples that fall from the ceiling, and the scene where she meets the scarecrow and the trees are throwing apples at them. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm a big Wizard of Oz nut.
Okay.
And so this was a must do no matter what. So
that'll be fun. Yeah,
I can't wait.
As a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s, I grew up going to Griffith Observatory and doing the laser light show there. And so if you're familiar with that, this to me seems like that times 100.
Yeah.
So just total 360 degree wraparound experience.
Well, we get a little tiny glimpse of that at our beautiful theater, Regal, down the street here.
Yeah.
And they also just recently renovated everything, and I mean their lobby is gorgeous, as we know. But the actual theater itself, I think it's IMAX.
Yeah,
IMAX. It's got a different name. I'm not doing it justice, but it's kind of the same thing where your seats move. You can have water kind of splashed on you. You feel the vibration of the seats, and there's wind and scents, and it's really pretty incredible. So it's cool that they're kind of really leaning into the technology that we have available and offering these kind of experiences to moviegoers and theater goers and all of that.
You know, it's interesting that we're bringing that full touch, feel, smell experience back to theaters. And I say back because that's the way theaters originally started when we first, I'm talking about 1920s, early 30s, when folks were first starting to go watch motion pictures. And that you had the old, flip motion, right? It was those one after the other, and you could actually hear them flip kind of things. They started introducing smells, right? And you would get to a scene where there was whatever, an ocean scene, and they would pump in the smell of salt water. And it's interesting because they used to have names for those, because if you went to a theater that pumped in smells, you would go to the smelly. And that's what it was called. It was a
Really?
smelly. And then there were other ones where, you'd have a haunted house sort of type motion picture, and they would have little jars at your seat, and they would indicate number 1. And so you were supposed to put your fingers in jar number 1, and you would feel what the main character's feeling.
Wow.
And you know what they called those? They called those feelies.
Okay.
And so they,
I've never heard this.
Yeah. And it didn't last very long. It's obviously very expensive.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, Depression era, folks didn't have a whole lot of money, but they were experimenting with how to get people to go to these kind of fully engaged experiences. And so, they had smellies, they had feelies. And then when they moved on from the kind of one photograph at a time, and the motion pictures became faster, and it looked like those pictures were actually moving, do you know what they decided to call them?
The movies.
Boom. That's where the word comes from.
That
Right?
is
Yeah.
incredible. I didn't realize that.
I'm full of all kinds of useless tidbits
No,
like that.
that's very useful. I like that. That's a good one. That's good.
Well-
So is that where all the tomatoes came from? Like you're throwing tomatoes at it?
That actually
Or is that like a
goes
derivative of that?
back hundreds and
That's
hundreds
more
of years. That was
theater.
more
Yeah.
live theater
Yeah.
and things like that. Yeah, but that was kind of, the raucous crowds from back in
Right.
Shakespeare's days. But so you have a wonderful time in Las Vegas. That
I
sounds
will.
like an amazing
I'm very
experience.
excited. Thank you.
But if you're planning on sticking around town, there's still a lot of incredible stuff to do this weekend. The Castaic Animal Shelter is hosting a great event. They're having an emergency preparedness adoption event where they're going to do some demonstrations. They're going to have emergency vehicles on hand. The kids love to see the fire trucks and the police cars and things like that. So they'll have emergency vehicles on hand. They'll be doing demonstrations. They're going to do an animal rescue demo. And then, of course, because it's the Castaic Animal Shelter, you can adopt pets. And this weekend only, they're waiving the adoption fees. So you can go and see the firefighters with their demo and the animal rescue demo, and then no fees involved. You can take home a pet. Big T just adopted a pet last weekend.
Oh, did he? He already has a dog, right?
He has a couple of dogs.
Oh, okay.
And he took a little bitty home with him last weekend,
That's
and so
great.
that was super sweet. So,
Do you have
think
pets?
about that.
Do you have pets at home?
I do. I have a fish.
Okay.
I have one fish.
I was waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Oh, what is this?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
really easy to clean up after. They don't stink, and you can go to
Yeah.
Alaska for a week, and
They
your fish
don't-
will be chill.
They don't go to the bathroom on the floor or anything like that. Okay.
Absolutely,
All
no,
right.
very low maintenance.
Yes.
That's the kind
Good.
of family we run around the Watson household. We've also got an event called the Blue Jeans and Country Dreams. That is the theme for this year's Agua Dulce Country Fair and Parade. That's right here on the east side of town, just up the road in Agua Dulce. Their annual country fair and parade is called Blue Jeans and Country Dreams. That is tomorrow, Saturday, September 20th. At 2 p.m. So head up there early. The Agua Dulce crowd gets out there early. Bring your chairs and line the streets. It's always just such a fun experience. So get out there and spend some time with your community. We've also got a Veterans Resource Fair. Are you a veteran? Do you know someone who is a veteran? The JCI of Santa Clarita is hosting a job fair, recess fair, and food for all veterans. So if you're a veteran or you know a veteran who could use a new job or a food donation or any resources, there's lots of resources for our veterans out there. The JCs have got you hooked up. That is tomorrow, Saturday, September 20th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the College of the Canyons Honor Grove. And, we've got Census is back on Thursday nights. We've got the annual River Rally coming up. That is also tomorrow, September 20th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Jen, you and I were talking about folks cleaning up their community during the commercial break. This is always a fantastic event. We've got the Little Santa Clara River that runs right through the middle of town, and once a year, folks volunteer to clean up the riverbed because it always, gets filled full of, our garbage and things like that. It's always a fun event where the community comes together, and I've done this several times before. It makes you feel real good about yourself and your community while really making a big impact. And there's a lot more going on in and around town. You can check it all out at hometownstation.com. That's the KHTS website, hometownstation.com. Just click on web features and drop down to things to do in Santa Clarita. There's all different kinds of stuff for you and your families to do in and around town this weekend because it's going to be a gorgeous one. Coming up, we got a couple of amazing leaders of the Zonta International of Santa Clarita Valley, Dr. Cherise Moore and Dinh Montané, and they've got a fun and exciting way for you to join them in the fight against domestic violence. I am Matt Watson. You are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. My next guests today are two amazing ladies who are both part of the leadership team at the Zonta Club of Santa Clarita Valley. Dr. Cherise Moore is the Zonta president of Santa Clarita Valley and a member of the Board of Trustees for the William S. Hart Union High School District. Born in Virginia, raised by her mother for a life of service, she attended Mercy High School in San Francisco. She attended UCLA. Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
You're our second UCLA alum we've had on today. Before starting her career in education, in which she now has over 3 decades of experience, holding a bachelor's degree in political science, a master's degree in urban planning, another master's degree in educational administration, and a PhD in public administration. Wow. In addition to her work with Zonta, she is a board member of the Wish Education Foundation and a board member for Bridge to Home, a homeless services organization here in Santa Clarita. She also previously served on the California Department of Education's Adult Education Field Partnership Team and Adult Education Strategic Planning Steering Committee. Dr. Moore has worked professionally as an educator locally in the Hart District at the state level for the California Department of Education and currently serves at the national level with the U.S. Department of Education as a principal researcher with the American Institute for Research. And her colleague, Dinh Montané, currently serves College of the Canyons as their Administrative Services Coordinator and Assistant to the Dean of Math, Science, and Engineering Division, where she assists with personnel, contract, budget, and other administrative responsibilities related to a division composed of over 165 full-time and adjunct professors, and also provides support for the NASA Student Engagement Program. She's also a mighty, mighty Bruin herself, having graduated from UCLA with degrees in both economics and international development studies. She's an active volunteer not only with Zonta, but with the Rotary Club, Sister Cities International, Healing California, and best of all, the Rosedale Elementary School, PTA.
Yeah.
Dr. Moore, Ms. Montané, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you very much. We're happy to be here.
So glad to have you both. And before we get into your work with Zonta and this amazing event that you've got coming up, I wanted to ask you both this question. As you both know very well, volunteerism is such a huge part of what makes Santa Clarita the amazing community that it is. Ms. Montané, I mentioned your vast volunteer experience, and Dr. Moore, I don't know that I've ever seen you when you're not involved in some sort of major volunteer effort, but it's not easy to spend so much of your personal time working outside of your own family and career. So I always like to find out my guests why. So let me ask you both, why do you volunteer? Why are you willing to give up so much of your personal time volunteering?
Well, I'll start, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's very rewarding and satisfying to give back to the community, to be generous in your time. I've being a refugee as myself.
Okay.
You know, I know what it feels like to not have very much.
Okay.
And so that's part of my...
That's beautiful. So you recognize it from the need side.
Yes.
And now you're giving back to others in need.
Definitely.
What an amazing circle. That's beautiful. What about you, Dr. Moore? What's your why?
Well, you know, a lot of my why, you know, it's how I was raised. I
Yes,
was raised in a family of service. My mom was a civil rights activist. I grew up just knowing how important it was to serve. If you want to see change, you have to be a part of the change.
Definitely.
There's no other option. And so that's just how it is. In my household, that's how I raised my kids, and that's how I was raised. You have to be a part of the change. You want to see things change, you have to do it. So,
Right, and it's one thing to complain about society and what's wrong with it, but you can't be complacent about it. You have to advocate. You have to do something to promote change and change people's attitudes and behaviors by educating them and hopefully also changing legislation to protect those that are vulnerable.
You're absolutely right. And, that was kind of my why when it came to volunteerism is through a conversation I was having with a friend where we were both expressing frustration about conditions. And I said, made the mistake of saying somebody should do something. And my friend said to me, you're right. And you're somebody.
That's
So
right.
I thought, okay, I better
That's
get
right.
up off my couch and get to work.
Right.
So you both volunteer for Zonta and countless hours, I know. So for our listeners who maybe aren't quite familiar with Zonta Clubs, could you share a little bit about the mission of Zonta and the work that your organization does?
Absolutely, absolutely. So Zonta is an organization that's really focused on building a better world for women and girls. And a part of really the purpose for me, when you asked about volunteerism, I also should have included that it's really important to me to make sure that we are helping those who don't often have a voice and to try and serve the least of those. That's one of the missions of my volunteer work. And so Zonta stands for women's rights, and we advocate for equality and education, and we advocate for ending violence against women, ending child marriage. In fact, Dinh just did a program and presentation for us last month at our club meeting on child marriage, which was wonderful, ending gender-based violence. We focus on really providing educational opportunities and service projects internationally, and making sure that we can really make sure that women's rights are recognized as human rights.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you're doing it here locally and around the globe.
Yes.
That is absolutely amazing, and it must be so satisfying to have that kind of impact. Now, I know the local chapter here in Santa Clarita just celebrated, and there's still glitter all over the website.
Yes.
You just celebrated 50 years. Can you tell us about the history of the Zonta Club of Santa Clarita in particular and how it's grown across the last 5 decades?
Yes, so we did. We had a wonderful 50th anniversary celebration. Wow, 1974, we established our club. And over that 50 years, we have focused on advancing the status of women. And as you've seen Santa Clarita grow and change over the last 50 years, I mean, I wasn't here 50 years ago, but even in the last 20 years that I've been here, Santa Clarita has grown and changed significantly. And so has our club. We have really done a great deal of work in terms of giving out scholarships and awards and providing opportunities for women to get a new start through some of those awards, providing educational opportunities through programs that we've had in STEM areas for girls, providing opportunities through partnerships that we've had with many, many nonprofits and organizations through our community grants programs here. And over that 50 years, we've had leaders in our clubs who have been international presidents in our organization. We've had 2 past international presidents in our club. I mean, that is amazing.
That's a big deal,
wonderful. It's a huge deal. We've had one of the fellowship programs that we have. Zonta does a lot in education, and we have scholarship and fellowship programs. And one of the fellowship programs that we have is the Amelia Earhart Fellowship. Amelia Earhart was one of our members.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And in her honor, we have a fellowship that we established in 1938. It's a $10,000 fellowship, and we award it internationally to up to 30 women.
Okay.
And we have 2 women in our club who've been winners of that fellowship.
Wow.
It's amazing. And so we've grown a lot. I joined our club in 2012.
Okay.
And I will say that over that time, our club has changed significantly. When I walked into our club in 2012 versus when I walk into our club now as the club president, just what our club looks like, just the membership in our club has changed dramatically.
Okay.
I would say that we are just continuing to grow and thrive on who we invite to join our club. But as I was preparing for this interview today, I looked back at my documents from way back then. And one of the things that remains the same and consistent is our mission. And we have been focused on improving the lives of women and girls all that time. What I found is that I found a membership report from 2009 and 10.
All right.
And I read over it, and one of our past presidents, who was at that time the vice president of membership then, and she's actually an officer today.
Wow.
So one of the things I found is we're consistent. Our club has maintained many of the members who were members then are still members now, and I'm so very proud of that. But we've also got a lot of new members, and I'm extremely proud of that too. And when I looked at the membership report, it was in some ways like a deja vu. It was like reading some of the things that we're doing today, we were doing then to really focus on engaging new members.
Okay.
And we were doing things focused on building our sisterhood. We were doing things focused on service projects. We were doing things focused on how we were going to have a new member orientation. And that was really exciting to see, because sometimes change is really, really good. And sometimes you find something good that works, and it's good to keep doing the thing that works.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
So we have about 70 members today.
Oh, great.
And we had a little over 70 members then.
Okay.
So we've remained consistent in our size of our club, and we have different people doing some of the work, but we have some of the same people.
Same folks that have
who
been doing
are
it for a long time.
still in our club doing different things.
Oh, I see.
But still here and still believing in that mission and supporting the new members and taking on that mantle.
Yes.
And helping really pass the torch so that we understand still what our mission is and how to continue that work for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
I'd like to add to that as well.
Please.
I think our club is very adaptive to the times.
Okay.
We're not static.
That's important,
You know, we use social media.
Sure.
And then we also are cognizant of the role of AI, artificial
Yes.
intelligence, and how that's affecting gender issues and women.
Okay.
So those are topics that are relevant
Yeah.
to listeners and people now.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes, absolutely.
You know, I've lived in this community for quite a while, and one of the things that I've always noticed as I'm in and around town and going to events is the incredibly high quality of the female leaders in town. There's a lot of just incredible leaders who are women here in Santa Clarita, and I can't help but think that Zonta has played a huge role in helping develop that type of leadership.
Yes.
But as you mentioned, and the talk that you, Ms. Montané, gave just this last week illustrates that the need continues.
Yeah, I mean, for me, myself, I was really astonished that child marriage is still prevalent.
Yeah, we think about that as an arcaic
It's
kind of
legal
practice.
in 2/3 of the U.S. and even in California. What's
Oh, wow.
shocking is like there's a minimum age to divorce, which is 18,
Okay.
but there's no minimum to get married. So if you get married at 14,
That I did not know.
Yeah,
know.
that's crazy,
know.
huh? If
Yeah.
you get married at 14, and most of these child marriages are forced, coerced, they're not willing. You have to wait 4 years to want to be able to get divorced. The only-
Because divorce is a serious decision, but marriage?
Right. I know.
Wow.
Yeah. And the weird thing about California is the provision is minors can get married with the consent of one guardian in front of a judge. But unfortunately, sometimes the guardian is the one who is coercing
Sure.
the minor to get married.
Sure. Wow, that I did not know.
It's crazy. huh?
Even right here in California.
Right here.
Yeah.
Wow, gosh, ladies, the work is still heavy and a lot to do.
It was
lot to do.
enlightening to me because I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so, talk about the work that you're doing. So what is it that you all are doing to address these issues? And you mentioned that you work advocating for women and girls, but you're also engaging women and girls. So
Yes.
as you talk about the work that you're doing to combat some of the issues that women and girls are facing, can you also talk about how you're developing that next generation through the Z Clubs?
Absolutely, absolutely. That is probably one of our most exciting projects that we get to work with, one of our most exciting service projects that we have going on with our club. Z Clubs are one of Zonta's longest running programs, and they were started back in 1948. They are focused on high school students, and the goal of Z Clubs are really about developing leadership skills, promoting career exploration, and encouraging the members of the Z Clubs to participate in community school and international service projects. And our club has 4 Z Clubs in our high schools in the Heart District right now.
Okay.
We have Z Clubs at Canyon High School, Golden Valley High School, West Ranch High School, and Castaic High School. And we are excited about the possibility of starting a Z Club at Valencia High School this year.
Yes.
As a Heart District school board member, one of my goals is to have a Z Club at all of our comprehensive high schools. So I've been on track with starting a new Z Club every year. And so if we can get one at Valencia High School this year, and I have a student who is eager to start one at Valencia High School this year, we will keep moving in that direction. So we work with them, really helping educate them, make them aware about what our mission is on improving the lives of women and girls and really building a better world for women and girls, and helping them think about what are problems that they see, what are issues that they see that girls face. We had our retreat with all 4 of the schools together just last weekend, and Dinh was there, and we actually went through a full day with them on helping them think about their club and what their club structure would be, what it would be like for their positions. They have a structure just like we do in our club, where they have presidents and vice presidents, and what it's like to run their meetings, be in leadership. And one of the highlights was we had a session on advocacy that Dinh led.
Yes.
It was an Advocacy 101. And so bringing awareness to the young people in our Z Clubs about opportunities that they may have on their campuses to get engaged with advocacy.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit about the highlights of some of the opportunities we shared with them?
Sure. We talked about our 16 Days of Activism,
Yes.
which runs from November 20th to December 10th. And this is a campaign that all the Zonta clubs in the entire world participate in to raise awareness about violence against, or gender-based violence against women. One thing I did tell the Z Club, what's important is that you're not alone, and to have partnerships. And we reached
so
out to them to partner for some of our campaigns. We also had like another campaign for Denim Days. Basically, it's comes from a court case in Italy where.
I know it well, yeah.
Oh, you know about Denim Days?
Yes, it was a young lady in Italy who was raped, and the judge found the perpetrator not guilty because she was wearing tight jeans.
Yes.
Well, he was guilty, but then it got overturned.
Right, okay.
Because they said because she was wearing tight jeans, she must have
She
consented.
provoked it, yeah.
But that was her driving instructor. I think she was like 14
wow.
or 17, and he's 44.
My Lord.
Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, Denim Days I am familiar with. We've talked about it here on the show. I'm so glad that there's so many powerful ladies continuing to work to advocate for women and girls, not only here in Santa Clarita, but across the world. I'm talking this morning with Dr. Cherise Moore and Dinh Montané, leaders of the Zonta Club of Santa Clarita Valley. When we get back, they've got an event that you can attend free of charge where you can help them in their mission to combat domestic violence. Stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS.
Hi, it's Dr. Palucki for Instaline Massage. Call 753-9340. Instaline Massage is now being studied for its effects on relieving pain and tension, restoring flexibility and movement, and rebalancing nerves and hormones. As good as any chiro or massage without the drama or mess. Just relief in 15 minutes or less. And for a limited time, you can try Instaline for just $79. Call 753-9340 now to see how.
Time for a car wash, but fearful of the scratches that go along with it? Canny Car Wash and Valencia Car Wash proudly use 100% lamb's cloth to prevent scratches and provide the best wash possible. Both locations use environmentally friendly solutions to wash and wax your vehicle, and they both accept all other car wash coupons. Give your vehicle the wash it deserves. Visit Canny Car Wash on Soledad across from Edwards Cinema, or Valencia Car Wash on Creekside Road behind Target.
Is your child ready for something different? Discover iLead Online, a tuition-free online charter school serving students of all grades in Southern California. Our teaching teams see your child for who they are and develop customized learning that complements their strengths and interests for a unique and supported educational experience. Our flexible curriculum allows students to focus on the passions that drive them while developing academic skills to prepare them for a lifetime of success. Learn more at iLeadOnline.org.
Once heart attack symptoms begin, delaying treatment increases the risk of heart damage, disability, and even death. Time is critical. Leading the Valley with the most advanced digital technology and treatment times that beat national best practice goals, Providence offers emergency coronary angioplasty and stenting performed by highly trained board-certified cardiologists. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING. The road to healing leads to Providence.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. This morning, I'm joined by Dr. Cherise Moore and Dinh Montané, leaders of the Zonta Club of the Santa Clarita Valley. And during the commercial break, I learned something new, that while the Zonta Club, Zonta International, advocates for the rights of women and girls, it's not just for women and girls. Men can join the club, men can be part of the leadership and get involved in not only the events, but the causes. So guys, let's step it up and help add to their ranks. So I mentioned before the break, y'all have an event coming up. Zonta has, you sponsor quite a few events throughout the calendar year, and one in particular we want to talk about in depth is upcoming. It's called Unite Against Domestic Violence, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But can we touch on the robust calendar of events and opportunities that Zonta offers throughout the year?
Absolutely, yes, because we want the community support at all of our events.
Yeah.
And so I want to put one date in mind for an event that we have coming up in the spring. Just save the date. On March 21st, 2026, we're going to bring back an event that the community loved. It's our Women in Service event.
Yes.
So we are bringing it back. Last year, because it was our 50th anniversary, we put all of our attention on celebrating our 50th anniversary, and we were celebrating us, and we had our big party in November to celebrate us, and everyone was there, the community was there. But now we're going to bring back Women in Service, where we celebrate the women in our community who are doing amazing things. And
Fantastic.
Every nonprofit will get to nominate a woman from their organization who has done amazing things for that organization, and that will be on March the 21st during Women's History Month, and we'll be doing that at Bella Vita. So save the date.
Love that. Bella Vita's, what a beautiful venue, too. Fantastic.
Yes.
Any other events that you want to highlight before we get to the Unite Against Domestic Violence?
We'll also have our awards night coming up, where
Okay.
we will be giving away thousands and thousands in scholarships and awards. Last year we gave away almost $20,000 in scholarships and awards. So please go to our website for our awards and scholarships, we want to make sure that we recognize women and girls who are looking to pursue continued educational opportunities. So look for that. And then a new piece that we are also bringing back are our community grants.
Okay.
And this is where, similar to Women in Service, where we recognize the women in these community organizations, the community grants is our opportunity to provide funding resources to community organizations who are doing work in alignment with our mission.
That is fantastic. And I'm looking at your website. You've got quite a few different grants and fellowships that you offer. I'm looking at least half a dozen here that, gosh, you guys are really doing the work and putting your money where your service is. That is great. So let's talk about it now. This next event that's coming up, Unite Against Domestic Violence. When is that event happening and what are y'all doing?
It is on October the 3rd, Friday, October the 3rd, 5:30 at the Child and Family Center. And we want everyone there. It is a free awareness event on domestic violence. It is hosted by our Advocacy Committee in partnership with Child and Family Center.
Correct. They will be some appetizers and beverages as well. But it's an important event because you think that domestic violence is a topic it doesn't go away. And there's always something new to learn about it, and also legislations and laws that we do to protect it. But essentially, you just want to change the behavior that it's not normal.
Right.
I think one of the questions I was pondering is like, for those who are not directly affected by domestic violence, why should they care? I think it's important to know that it doesn't affect just the individual and the perpetrator and their community, the family and friends, but children who grow up in abusive households, they're affected.
Yeah.
And they're very prone to delinquency, and unfortunately, at the extreme, they might turn out to the life of crime or be homeless. So it is a societal concern.
Absolutely. And oftentimes the cycle gets repeated. Either children that grow up to abuse themselves or be victims.
And then I think also, like, a lot of times when you watch the news and you see some violent crime and you look at the suspect or the felon, people always delve into, like, what was their childhood like? Did they grow up in a broken home?
Sure.
That's the first thing that you always look at.
Right. So this event, Unite Against Domestic Violence, you said you're partnering with the Child and Family Center. I love the partnerships that you're developing with a lot of the different nonprofits around town. We've got so many amazing foundations. Can you share with our listeners why this partnership makes sense and why this is so important in supporting this work that you're doing to combat domestic violence?
Absolutely. So I'll go back just a little bit to give you some history about why we say no to violence, to gender-based violence in particular, but to domestic violence as a part of that. So back in 2012, we launched a global campaign really against women's rights being violated and at any level. And we started our advocacy efforts to fight violence against women and against gender inequity. We continue to advocate and to say no to violence against women, and we see our partnership with Child and Family Center to be a natural one because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Child and Family Center will be having their Purple Walk campaign. They work with survivors of domestic violence, and we have been a part of their Purple Walk for years, having a team who participates in that event. We have hosted, as a part of our Life Forward workshops, which are our monthly workshops to provide opportunities for women who may be survivors of domestic violence or
any kind
also
of trauma.
Survivors of any kind of trauma or needs just support of any kind. We have partnered with them on that for other opportunities for years, and this is just a natural partnership, a natural opportunity for us to continue working with them and the work that they do, the work that we do. It blends together. It just makes sense. And one of the past cornerstones of our work has really been to highlight domestic violence in Santa Clarita. And you may remember this. We have done for many years the Red Dress Project.
Yes.
And that was a cornerstone of our work to show to the community people who had lost their lives to domestic violence in Santa Clarita. And this year we changed our approach in our advocacy efforts.
Okay.
Because for years those red dresses were symbolizing
each death.
Yes, and
Okay.
we could not, but it was for a specific year. And the data for the number of deaths became more and more difficult for us to track because that data is not as easily accessible. And we decided that as the numbers continue to grow and increase, that we wanted to not just show the number of lives lost, but really to focus on the growing number of people who are really dealing with domestic violence overall.
Yeah.
And that number is growing tremendously in Santa Clarita. It's
devastating.
Just last night when we were at our event in the Heart District, the Culture of Wellness and Safety event, there were conversations talking about the increases in domestic violence in Santa Clarita. The numbers are growing and increasing, and the severity is growing in terms of what's being used and the injuries from it. And so this is a way for us to continue our focus and show the impacts even more so.
If I can add 2 points.
Yes, please.
One point, the Child and Family Center runs a 24-hour shelter.
Yes, they do.
For 30 days for people to be...
Yeah, it's that emergency shelter
Yes.
that families can go to. Kids, women, men as
Yes.
well.
And then the second point I want to make, because I took over the advocacy committee.
Okay.
My focus and what I would like to see is more on the prevention.
Yes.
Because I think there's been a lot of talk about statistics reciting, but if we can educate women to not get into relationships, toxic relationships.
Yes.
What are the red flags? And help them build up their self-esteem.
Right.
Because, I mean, for myself, I had a cousin who was a survivor of domestic violence. And after her third child in the hospital, I was talking to her because we knew that he was not a good person. She would tell me that I have no choice.
Right.
And I was trying to tell her, you do have choices. They're difficult choices.
Right.
But you have choices. You know, you have to think about your children.
Right.
Yes.
But you make a great point. It can be so difficult for women to get out of these abusive relationships if we can stop them from starting.
Yes.
That prevents just multiple lifetimes
Right.
of damage and
If we
destruction.
can address the issues
Yes.
that have them get into these relationships to prevent them, then I think
100%.
that has a better chance of success.
I love that that's a
Yes.
focus of
on
your
prevention.
work. So you've mentioned a couple of colors. You mentioned that you joined in the Purple Walk and the Red Dress Project. And I noticed that the two of you are beautifully dressed in orange this morning. Is there some sort of symbolism to the orange, or is this just an amazing coincidence this morning?
There's definitely symbolism to the orange for Zonta. Orange is our international color of supporting the end to gender-based violence. And so we will have on orange at the event that evening. That is, again, the way in which, through Zonta and in our partnership with the United Nations, that we show the support to end gender-based violence. And I just want to add a little bit about the event. That event will shed light on this pressing issue that comes before us in Santa Clarita, and we will have some special guests there that night. So you will hear from speakers including Assemblywoman Pilar Chavo and Sheriff Captain Brandon Barkley will be there with us that evening. They will both address this issue. Pilar Chavo is a vocal advocate for survivors of domestic violence, and Sheriff Captain Barclay will address the role of law enforcement in handling domestic violence cases.
Fantastic. So we mentioned that Zonta clubs are doing amazing work to support women and girls in our community, but it's not just for women and girls. Men can join as well. So if someone's listening and wants to be a part of Zonta, how can they join? How can they learn more?
They can email us. They can go to our website. We have meetings on the second Thursday of every month. We meet at 6 o'clock for our social hour, and then our meetings start at 6:30. We would love for you to join us. It's really, really easy. We welcome you, and you can go to our website. It's scvzonta.org, scvzonta.org, and you'll see right there on our front page how to join our meeting. So the second Thursday, 6 o'clock social, 6:30 meeting time starts. Website scvzonta.org. You can also always email me, and my email is president@scvzonta.org. I hope to see you at a meeting and look forward to having you join us on this wonderful journey to build a better world for women and girls.
Absolutely. Pop by and join a meeting and see if this is the right way for you to get involved in activism and volunteerism in our community, that those efforts that make our community what it is. And one more time, can you share the details of this event you've got coming up next month, Unite Against Domestic Violence?
Yes, it is on Friday, October the 3rd at Child and Family Center. It starts at 5:30, and we would love to see you there. And you can email us to let us know you're coming. You can also go to our same website. We have the flyer on that website. It's scvzonta.org, and you can RSVP there. We just want to know that you're coming to make sure that we save a seat for you and that we have plenty of food for you. So please come out and meet us, join us, wear orange if you like. We'd love to see you there too. And just one more plug for our Z Clubs. If you are listening and want to start a Z Club at your school, please also visit our website and contact us and let us know. And we have a Golden Z Club at College of the Canyons.
Oh, wow.
And so if you are interested in joining our Golden Z Club, which is for college-age students, please also let us know. We'd love to get you connected on that campus with our amazing advisor at College of the Canyons, Professor Julie Johnson.
Fantastic. So that is scvzonta.org, and check out their event at the Child and Family Center October 3rd, 5:30 p.m. Head on over to the website again, scvzonta.org. RSVP to let them know that you're coming, because they want to make sure they've got enough appetizers for you. And, let's pack that event and let Santa Clarita know
Show
that
our support.
Gender-based violence is not okay.
It is
And this
not okay.
increase that we're seeing has got to turn around. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I appreciate the work that you're doing in and around our community. It is so important, and I had no idea that the need was not only still there, but continues to grow. That's devastating, but thank you for doing your part. We appreciate that.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Of course, y'all have a great weekend. Don't you go anywhere, though. You stick around. My brother's coming in, and he's got trivia and fun facts and all kinds of annoying stuff. Dr. Moore, you won't want to hear any of it. But, like a good train wreck, you might want to listen. Stick around. I'm Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. We've had an absolutely tremendous show today. We kicked it off in hour number 1 with the director of iLead Online, Kate Wolfe. She was talking about all of the incredibly innovative stuff that they're doing at iLead Online. And once again, remember, iLead Online is a free public charter school. Check them out at iLeadOnline.org. And then we had an amazing hour number 2 with Dr. Cherise Moore and her colleague, Dinh Montané from the Zonta Clubs of Santa Clarita Valley. They've got an amazing event coming up October 3rd. It is the Unite Against Domestic Violence event, and it's time for our community to show out and let folks know that domestic violence is not okay. Dr. Moore and Ms. Montané also wanted me to let you know that they will also have a booth at the Child and Family Center's Purple Walk this year. That's also in October 11th. So if you're heading to the Purple Walk, make sure you stop by the Zonta booth and say hello and get some more information on how you can join and support the cause of women and girls in our community. So yeah, it's been an absolutely fabulous show. But that is all about to come to an end because unfortunately it is now time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. He's my big brother. Y'all know Big T. He's an executive and philanthropist. He's an amazing father, husband, and dog dad whose family is growing. He is also living proof that participation trophies work. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. He's Mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
Morning, Maddie. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Am I going to see you this weekend?
No, I've had the opportunity to see you the last 2 weekends, but unless you're coming down here to catch Kershaw's last regular season home game tonight, I don't think we're going to see each other.
I guess then we're going to have to do the following weekend in Seattle when he pitches on Friday then.
Okay. Is he pitching up in Seattle? He's pitching against the M's?
He's pitching against the M's on the 24th.
Muy interesante.
That's all right. Are you going to watch the game tonight, Frogger?
I am going to watch the game tonight. You know why? Because I subscribe to Apple TV.
Oh, do you? Good.
Yeah, game's on Apple tonight, folks.
Yep.
Hey, Big T, you have a new member of the family.
I do. We got Little Cash.
Little Cash. A little bitty.
What kind of dog is it?
He was actually a lot of cash. It was a lot of cash, but...
It was... Adopt from your shelters, friends and family.
Yeah. What kind of, what breed is it?
It's an English lab.
Aww.
Yes, he's got that funny accent
and
everything.
He is a relative of Duke, so he's got the bloodlines.
That's awesome.
He is an English lab. He is a puppy, but he's very well behaved. He already knows how to ask to go outside to the loo.
Aw. They're the best.
All right, Big T, where are we starting?
Yes, they are.
Do we have a fun fact? Are we going straight into trivia? What are we doing?
We got a couple of advice. I know you're back at school now, and a lot of people are back at work. So just some fun to have with your coworkers to kind of keep them on their toes. A couple of things. Number one, just ask a random coworker, and this works really good in large companies. But just ask a random coworker. So, what do you think about us downsizing? And when they look surprised, say, "Oh, you haven't been told yet."
Big T attended the Michael Scott School of Management.
Yeah.
Correct. In meetings, start off every sentence with the words "ooh la la" and then go into your thought.
No.
I could see myself talking to the director of HR going, exactly why am I being written up? And him going, I don't know, but it's got to happen.
Well, and then end your thought or end your sentence with the words "in accordance to the prophecy."
You know what I like to do is when it's time for people to present in our team meetings, I like to play walk-up songs for them.
Nice.
Yes. You laugh at some of these things, and you wouldn't want to necessarily do them at work. But I'll tell you, if you do those two things in meetings, you will get called on less.
That's a good point. We don't want to hear from that guy. Yeah, because you won't be at work, right? Because you won't be there on Monday. Yes.
Somebody other than the ooh la la guy, please.
Right. All right, Tony. As you can hear, we've got Engineer Andrew in the room. We've got Engineer Jen. We're ready for some trivia. Remember, folks, Tony's got trivia questions. We're going to hit our buzzers to buzz in before we shout out our answers. We're going to do that by calling out our names. But you at home are going to get a significant advantage because you don't have to buzz in. Just shout out the answer and see if you can beat us. We're pretty smart, though. I don't think you're going to do it, but give it a shot.
Perfect. So what's the name of the group responsible for Macarena?
Jen.
Frogger. Oh.
Jen.
Los Del Rio?
Los Del Rio is correct. Nice pull, Jen.
There we go. And what's that mean in English?
Go ahead.
I don't know.
It's the guys that live in a van down by the river.
Oh, okay.
Who was Russia's first elected president?
Frogger. Was that Boris Yeltsin?
Boris Yeltsin's correct.
Boom.
Nice.
I know my Soviet Union.
What was the first animated feature film to be nominated for a Best Picture Oscar?
Andrew. Jen.
Andrew.
Toy Story?
I missed that.
He said Toy Story.
No, not Toy Story, Jen.
Oh, I was going to say Snow White.
No, you're closer.
Frogger.
Maddie, got anything?
Bambi.
Yeah. Nope. Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Oh, boy.
Whitney Houston had a massive hit in 1992 with the cover of
Andrew.
Who's Hit? Andrew.
Dolly Parton.
There we go.
Dolly Parton, I Will Always Love You.
Fantastic.
Macaulay Culkin was paid $1 million, the first child star to ever do so for what film?
Jen? Is this going to be a trick question? Home Alone is my answer.
Incorrect.
Frogger. Frogger.
Incorrect.
I knew it.
Frogger. I'm going with My Girl.
My Girl is correct.
Oh, don't watch that movie.
them
Don't
bees.
do it.
Watch them
Oh,
bees.
Depressing.
oh my gosh. Don't do it.
It's a buzzkill.
Hey.
But
Watch that movie right after you watch Marley and Me.
Big T, we've got
Yeah.
1 minute left. 1 minute left.
Perfect. Who hit the charts with I'll Be There For You, the theme from Friends?
Jen.
Oh, ooh,
Jen.
The Rembrandts.
The Rembrandts is correct.
good pull.
What 90s fashion accessory was invented by a high school shop teacher?
Andrew, was it the slap bracelets?
Very good pull. The slap bracelets, yes.
So I think I'm going to call off the jam there with all three of us tied at 2. I remember those slap bracelets, but we do have to go. Big T, thanks for swinging by. We would like to thank our guests, Director of iLead Online, Free Public Charter School, TK through 12th grade, Kate Wolfe, that's iLeadOnline.org. Leadership from Zonta Clubs of Santa Clarita Valley, Dr. Cherise Moore and Dinh, Montané. Producer Sarah, Engineer Andrew, Engineer Jen, and thank you for listening. Remember, friends, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good, and join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on KHTS.